When we choose a project, we look for value, not only the investment value, but what value we can add to our clients. And internally and externally, we then commit ourselves to deliver value.
The Caution team demonstrates admirably the commitment that John Laing has to its consortium members. It was an extremely difficult deal to get to financial close, and we've had to work extremely closely with our clients, with the public sector wider than the client, and also with our partners.
All the staff are very driven and dedicated. We all work flexibly. We want to stay until we do a good job. It's not just the sort of director that's leading it, it's the bid manager, it's all the people that are putting the bid together. Nobody seems to be asked to stay late. They just sort of get on and do it, and seem to do it with a sort of enthusiasm and sense of humour. And I think that comes across, you know, through quite a lot of the business.
Questions is very good, and I think from my experiences when we've conducted interviews with people in mental health, with the questions that we ask, never presume that they are responsible or don't share the same views as we do just because they work in mental health. Some sort of questions that basically give them an opportunity to express their views.
To really think about it. Yeah. I've wondered when they are designing these places. Have they ever consulted anyone that's been through the mill?
Okay. What is their consultation process?
Yes, yes.
Great, lovely. Anyone else?
Yes, I would like to see a space and you know, use opinion-led designs brought about, because people know what they need to find solace and peace of mind before they can break out of that situation they're going through. So that's important. So that's critical for the architect to know.
When I think about mental health units, is the fact of space, the fact that we don't always have male and female. Obviously budgets come into mental health units, so I would be thinking about what the primary things that he takes into account when designing these units.
Frank, the question I'd like to ask you is...
Are you asking me it now?
Yeah.
So I can't get...
Are we asking it to Frank now?
Go for it.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into service, you know, using mental health services and stuff?
Yeah, I can. I found myself lost, so to speak, walking around in a stupor and not really realising what was wrong with me. It turned out it's diagnosed as post-traumatic stress disorder.
And why did that happen?
It was basically due to the combat situations in the past, all exacerbated by seeing death, and also exacerbated by a marriage breakdown.
Basically, yeah, I've had a slight history in mental health. That's a process that I had to endure. I don't say I would wish it for anybody else to have to experience that type of thing, but needless to say, it does happen in society, and it happens to a lot of people.
I found that I was diagnosed straight away, so I was having to fight the condition, and also with the psychiatrist diagnosing me and labelling me as paranoid schizophrenic, self-harming, etc. I found that I was fighting against the psychiatrist, thinking I can't say what's going on inside me. Hi, hello Mungo. First of all, I'd like to thank you for agreeing to do an interview with us today. We understand that you're an architect designing mental health units, hospitals, and we'd really like to find out the ins and outs of how you're going about designing mental health hospitals.
I've been involved in designing facilities for people with mental health problems for about 17 years. And it started with a research project with the Department of Health to look at how you might close a very large Victorian hospital and then re-provide those services locally. Small-scale units in the community with beds close to where people live.
I spent a considerable amount of time in an institution. It was knocked down in the late part of the 90s. You had like a solitary building for people who were fairly aggressive, people who couldn't control their emotions. And I was put on that ward for a considerable amount of time, and I found that to be very disturbing.
There's a lot of euphemisms used now. Well, I mean, there's seclusion, there's some issues around that. What is seclusion? What does it mean really? And then there's something called de-escalation. So now we have de-escalation suites, we have seclusion rooms, descriptions of places where people are confined until their sort of behaviour meets the sort of standard that it's expected.
Isn't it a modern take on a Victorian?
Yes.
It is.
In a way, the staff are more institutionalised than their clients. Their behaviour and their attitudes.
So I mean, how many times? I mean, obviously this must be a new situation for you to be in, faced with, service users, and to be prompted to maybe give an insight or account of what it is you're about or what you do.
I have many friends who have been or are service users anyway, so I can have informal discussions. But when you're actually briefing a project, my approach is fairly subversive. I'm quite interested in making buildings which are pleasant to be in.
Is there anything that you'd like to say that we haven't already asked you, or that you haven't been able to mention already?
We often don't get to meet service users outside of the context of a trust where that meeting's managed. There tends to be an element of chaperoning going on, or advocacy.
The voice of the service user is imperative in bringing forward treatment in mental health. We contribute not only to improving the services, but we contribute because we're the best people that really understand each other, and so collectively we are sort of strong together.
So I believe that if we all go and debate all of the issues with the professionals, in inverted commas, I believe that is the way forward, so that the stigma can be taken away.